My name is Greeg Street. I'm the design director for League of Legends, which means I'm ultimately in charge of game design. So I don't think we've made very big differences in the way we design champions since I started at Riot Games. I would say the main difference is a few years ago, when we didn't have many characters in the game, we created them at a very fast pace. Like every patch, every 2 weeks, there'd be a new champion. And sometimes we didn't necessarily have time to make very good champions because they were coming out so quickly. Nowadays, with 140 characters in the game, we slowed down our cadence a lot to where we may only do 4 or 5 new characters a year. And we think that's appropriate. It's still exciting for players to get a new character, but they're not coming out so fast that people can't keep up. So instead, we can invest a lot of time to make sure that every character we add has something new to the game. I think a great example is Zion Rakan, who came out last year. Neither of those champions is very complicated, or they're not doing anything very unusual, but the fact that they came out together as a duo, I think, is what's unusual about those characters. So going forward, we'd like to have more examples like that. If you have to wait several months for a new champion, we want it to be something pretty exciting that players haven't seen before. We would like to make additional games, and currently we have many R&D projects going on, but I've been making games for a long time, and I know that the chance of an R&D project working out is not always guaranteed. So hopefully one or more of those games will see the light of day. We'd certainly love to have players playing more of our games than just League of Legends. There's so many things I don't like about the game and would like to change. I think we still have a lot of champions that are old and need to be updated. You have Nunu is a great example, Aatrox, Volibear. There's a lot of old champions like that. There's still there's a lot of improvements we can make to the user interface. We've made some recently, but there's a lot more we can do. For example, the kind of things I would love to see is when being able to keep track of your friends, even maybe when they're not playing the game, so hey, do you want to play a match later? Things like that are very hard to do currently. We don't yet have an in-game voice solution, so players have to use Discord or TeamSpeak or some third party for voice. There's a lot of things that we'd love to change. It's the kind of game that keeps on going. It's a live game, so we always have the opportunity to improve it over time as players make requests and we see things that just don't feel like a modern game anymore, and we have to update them. I think the way our best champions get developed is we have an idea for the gameplay of the character, and as the gameplay starts to develop, then we come up with a story of like, oh, we want to make a female kind of tanky character, and the idea that her name is going to be Alawi and that she's going to have a Bilgewater connection, that kind of comes later after we've decided what is the basic gameplay. We think that's kind of the best way. We don't want the story to get in the way of making a good character. So we try to have a diversity of characters in the game. Many of the champions are human or look human, but we have other things as well. We have creatures from the void. We have the Vastaya, who are like the part human, part animal. We have Yordles. We try to offer a diversity. We know some players really like to play a character that kind of looks like them and is a human, but then other players want something like totally different, like a demon or some kind of undead creature like Thresh. Strictly on basis of mechanics, I often use Thresh as an example of a character. He has a lot of different unique abilities and a very steep mastery curve. Like, the more games of Thresh you play, the more you can learn to use your lantern in a particular way, or an ability like Flay can take a really long time to get good at because of kind of the way it's positioned. I feel like that's a character that has a lot of different ways you can play him kind of game to game depending on the situation and what your teammates are doing.